Well, welcome friends to our May module, the not so sweet side of sugar. So this whole month of May, sugar is our emphasis, with each week having a different theme. Week 1 is about our personal relationship with sugar, starting to notice how it shows up in our lives, how it is affecting our mood, our behaviors, and our habits. So I'm going to start by asking you guys a question. How many of you want more energy in your lives? Maybe how many of you want to drop a few pounds of body fat? Yep, that's pretty universal goals. But what people don't notice is those two goals are intricately twined together. Because when our metabolism is running the way it's supposed to, our energy is limitless. And when our energy is high, our body just starts to rebalance our body weight naturally. We fall to where we're kind of designed to be. So why is this so difficult? Why do so many people struggle? Well, in 2022, a new study came out that said 93% of people are metabolically dysfunctional. What does that mean? It means that our bodies are not producing energy the way they were designed. And it's leaving us depleted, unmotivated, just emotionally drained. It causes inflammation and disease, premature aging. And it also leads to the fact that 74% of Americans are either overweight or obese. That's 3 out of 4 people. And that 60% have at least one chronic disease. If you're over the age of 60, it's actually 95% that have at least one chronic disease. But here's the takeaway, you guys, 85% of this is lifestyle related, meaning that we're doing it to ourselves. All right, it's not something we inherited, it's not in our genes, it's our actions and daily behaviors that are putting us in this position. Now, I don't say this to shame us or blame us, I say it to empower us. Because if we know that our behaviors got us here, then we know for a fact our new healthy habits can get us out. And actually studies show when you change your behaviors with your intake in sugar, your metabolism can start to change and as quickly as 1 week. And that's absolutely phenomenal. So how do we do it? That's the big question. Last week, I got the opportunity to talk to all the executive staff for HGG. And we talked about becoming high performers in all areas of your lives. And we talked about these 3 pillars: clarity, energy, and courage. And you talk about like 3 prongs on a stool, all right? You need all 3 to stay balanced. Meaning if I have clarity, but I don't have the energy, all right, I'm not gonna get there. Or if I have energy and I have courage, but I don't have any clarity, how am I gonna know where I'm gonna go? And that is why last month in Module 1, we started with your vision. What is that compelling, just idea of your future self that is pulling you forward, making it easier to take the actions you need to become your ideal self? If you guys haven't created your future vision yet, make sure you do that before you continue to move on with our modules, because it is crucial to your success. Then this month, we're going to talk about energy. So remember, energy is everything of those 4 pillars. It is the food we eat, how much sleep we're getting, how we're managing our stress, and how we move our bodies. But I want to start with the number 1 culprit that's zapping our energy, and that is sugar. Sugar is kind of the main culprit to all of our disease and fatigue. All right, once we kind of start to understand how to get that energy, basically we just need that courage then to make those new healthy habits that are going to move us in the right direction. So let's talk a little bit about that not so sweet side of sugar. Sugar is personal. We all have a relationship with sugar. I actually believe that dark sugar is my spirit animal. And a fun fact, my maiden name is actually Kegi, which is the number 1 most popular sweet cookie in all of Switzerland. So I know you all have a personal relationship with sugar as well, but as a world we do. We associate sugar with love and comfort and connection, and it is part of our biology. Because when you think of it, you guys, biologically, sugar is super hard to come by. If you're out in the savannah or you're out foraging, if you could actually find a piece of fruit or a little honey, we knew that we had to eat that because it was so rare and it was like a rich energy reward. So our biology was built for scarcity. Unfortunately, scarcity is not the problem here in 2025. Sugar was so important that about 10,000 years ago, actually they were growing sugar cane in New Guinea. And they would just chew on sugar cane for a little energy. And then right about 500 AD, kind of in the Middle Ages, apothecaries would actually carry sugar, kind of like cocaine, in their jacket pockets because apothecaries believed that sugar was like a miracle drug. It could treat wounds and headaches and mental fatigue. It was the cocaine of that first century. So that kind of started us on this sugar consumption. So around the 1700s, average person was eating about 4 pounds of sugar a year. That's only about 1% of the diet. By the 1800s, we were eating about fourfold, so about 18 pounds per year. By the 1900s, it skyrocketed. Now we're eating about 90 pounds a year. And can you guys guess, in the 2020s, what are we eating now? 150 pounds of sugar a year per person. All right, and we're talking about added sugars in here, like the white sugar. This doesn't even account for all the processed foods like breads and pastas and cereals and crackers that we're eating. And it is estimated that about at least 70 to 80% of the standard American diet is processed food, i.e. more sugar. So now that we kind of know what we're eating, actually, what do we need? Well, we've survived for literally tens of thousands of years with little or no sugar. Our body, if you're going to test your blood sugar, really only needs about 70 to 90 milligrams per deciliter. So that's about 1 teaspoon that is circulating through our bodies at a time. All right. And then if we all of a sudden need some energy, our liver, our muscles, our fat cells, they can continue to give us a supply. All right. So we really don't need to be eating it at all. But if you're going to look at what's recommended, what's okay to have in your diet, the American Heart Association, men, about 36 grams. So you're looking at about 9 teaspoons of sugar. Women, 25 grams, about 6 teaspoons of sugar a day. Now, just for reference, you guys, a 12-ounce can of Coke has more than 10 teaspoons of sugar. 10 teaspoons. All right, that's more than men's requirement, about 1.5 times women's requirements. And honestly, sometimes who just drinks 1 can? All right, sometimes they're drinking 2 or more, 20 to 30 teaspoons of sugar. So it's just getting out of control. But here's what we need to talk about, you guys. Why does it matter? What is this sugar doing in our body? Well, when you guys know, like if you've ever eaten cotton candy, sugar is extremely sticky. And when we eat it, it is causing so much damage in our bodies. It is causing inflammation of all your tissue, cells, and organs, which is the root of all disease. It's causing glycation. It's like rusting of our cells, premature aging of our cells, oxidative stress, our mitochondria that has to produce our energy. It's damaging those. Too much sugar causes cravings, mood swings, memory loss, fatigue. But here's the kicker, if you only know one thing, is when we eat sugar, yes, our muscles take some, our brain takes some, our liver takes some, anything that's excess, like above that 1 teaspoon, we're gonna create insulin. Insulin is a storage device. Insulin's gonna take that leftover sugar and turn it into fat. But here's the thing you guys need to know. When your insulin is high, you can't burn fats for fuels. All right, so that's why we get these sugar cravings and different things during the day, because we can't tap in to our own fat storage. So long-term effect of too much damage, chronic fatigue, hormonal imbalances, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, you guys know now is actually called type 3 diabetes. All right, so many things that it's being affected. So bottom line, Sugar is sticky, it's sneaky, it's systematic, but with understanding our relationship to sugar, changing our beliefs about what's possible, changing our behaviors, we can absolutely change our body and its addiction. So, week 1, we're keeping it simple. I'm not asking you to change. I'm asking you to become aware. Awareness is the key to change. As a longevity coach, yeah, we could kind of tell you, here's what you need to do. But until you actually become aware of your relationship and decide to change it, those changes or those new habits won't stick. So that's why this is so important. And when it comes to awareness, I just want to tell you guys a quick story. And it happened to me about 20 years ago. I used to be a Dr. Pepper drinker. And I'm at a party and I've got my can of soda. And a friend walked up to me and said, "You drink soda?" And in my ignorant bliss, I was like, "Oh, it's just a small can." And he actually walked into his kitchen. He got a bag of sugar, came back out, got a teaspoon and went 1, 2, 3, made a pile of sugar, 16 teaspoons high. And he looked at me and he said, "Eat it." I was like, "That's disgusting. I'm not going to eat that." And he goes, "Well, that's what you're drinking. That's the amount of sugar in that can of Coke. And if you're not going to eat it, why would you drink it?" That awareness right there, I put my soda down. I have never had a soda since that day because I realized really what was the action I was taking and what were the effects it was having on my body. So this week, you guys, we're going to notice, how are we going to do this? I've created for you a handout. And on that handout, first, you're just going to answer some simple questions like, what is my relationship to sugar? How do those sweet treats make me feel? Does sugar give me an energy boost? Is it a reward? Is it a habit? Or is it something deeper like self-sabotage? Because maybe I don't feel deserving of a healthy, rich life. I want you to start looking for where sugars are hidden. Now, normally I talk about reading food labels, but you guys are HGG. You know how to read labels. So paying attention to the total carbohydrates. All right, how many added sugars? This is so important. You know, Mother Nature doesn't need to put labels on her food because her fruits are filled with natural fiber that really helps to counter the sugar that's in them. So if you're eating foods with a label on it, that's when we need to really pay attention. So, and I want you to get clarity on how is it I want to feel energy-wise. How am I feeling now in most days? And how do I want to feel in the future when it comes to my energy? You're also going to have a great little questionnaire to take in week 1. It's going to ask you about, maybe your knowledge around sugar, how it's making you feel. Do you understand things about glucose? And then we're going to take this questionnaire again at the end of the month just to see how much we've improved. There's also a food mood tracker, kind of track morning, afternoon, and evening. When are you eating those sweet treats? How are they making you feel? Starting to become aware. You guys, because bottom line, awareness is the first step to transformation. And this week will simply be noticing. Now, just to give you guys a sneak peek, next week we'll be talking about really powerful ways you can stabilize your blood sugar naturally without changing necessarily what you eat quite yet. All right, and for those of you that aren't quite convinced that sugar is something we need to work on, if you guys start to eliminate sugars in your diet, here is what you're going to notice. You're going to notice a boost in your immune system. Not getting sick, you just feel better every day. Your weight is going to start to rebalance naturally. You're going to lose that belly fat. You're going to have increased creativity. You're going to be able to work more productively. You're going to reduce inflammation, meaning those chronic diseases will begin to fade away. You're going to have an elevated mood. You're going to slow the aging process, hopefully start to look even a little bit younger. It's going to enhance your sleep. It's going to improve your gut health. Actually, fertility is going to be improved when you eat less sugars. Your hormones begin to start balance. You're going to reduce fluid retention that helps overall weight. It's going to get rid of bloating and headaches. And actually, low sugar is going to help to boost your sex drive as well, you guys. So let's do this. Awareness first. All right. Change comes second. And then we're going to have energy for a lifetime. So I will see you guys on Wellness Wednesdays. Enjoy Module 1 let's become aware of our relationship to sugar. Have a good one.